I've had so many injuries. The one thing that I've always told myself is, you can't give up, get back up and keep pushing through.
We got to earn our way back into this thing, man.
The Philadelphia 76ers are living a nightmare, and it's only getting worse. Forget last season's embarrassment of just 24 wins. This year might already be finished before it even begins. Media Day should have been a fresh start. Instead, Joel Embiid and Paul George dropped a bombshell that has fans furious. Neither star has a timeline to return from knee surgery. Think about that. We're 3 weeks from opening night, and the two players the Sixers are paying a combined $117 million can't even guarantee they'll touch the floor. Paul George is the biggest red flag. He had arthroscopic surgery on his left knee in July, the same injury that ruined last season. He managed just 41 games, the lowest since 2014, and posted his worst numbers in over a decade. Only 16.2 points per game on 43% shooting. That's not a superstar, that's a liability. Yet Philly still handed him a 4-year, $212 million deal in 2024. Now, 1 year in, the investment already looks like one of the worst contracts in the NBA. And when your so-called franchise players can't even promise availability, the process doesn't just look dead, it looks buried.
Getting better and better, feeling stronger and stronger. This next couple of weeks is very important, leading into the season, the start of the season, the opening night, all of that stuff. All I can do is just focus day after day, taking it one day at a time. I do think I will be at a good place, hopefully earlier than later.
He admitted he can do nearly everything except full contact, meaning he's not ready, with no clear timeline. Joel Embiid's case is even more concerning. After April knee surgery, he said he feels pretty good, but admitted the reality. His recovery is ongoing, and there's no certainty about his return.
Feel pretty good. I think we made a lot of progress over the last couple months. Just taking it day by day. Keep getting stronger, keep getting better. Everything is, on schedule. But I think there's not necessarily an expectation. It's more about making sure everything is right and doing everything right. And and then go from there.
Did you catch that? The face of your franchise just admitted his availability is going to be unpredictable. Last season, Joel Embiid managed only 19 games. Paul George suited up for 41, and the trio of Embiid, George, and Tyrese Maxey played just 15 games together, barely 294 total minutes. 15 games in an 82-game season. That's not a big three, that's a part-time experiment. Now let's talk money, because this is where things turn terrifying for Philadelphia. Joel Embiid signed a 3-year, $193 million extension in September 2024. That extension hasn't even started yet. It kicks in after the 2025-26 season. Next year, he's set to make $55.2 million, and by the 2028-29 season, at 34 years old with chronic knee problems, he holds a player option worth nearly $70 million. Do you honestly think he'll decline that? Meanwhile, Paul George is on a 4-year, $212 million deal with a player option for 2027-28. Next season, he'll earn $51.7 million. That means the Sixers are paying two injury-prone stars over $106 million combined next year, and the bill only climbs higher from there. Between Embiid, George, and Maxey, Philadelphia's Big Three will eat up nearly 90% of the salary cap over the next 4 seasons. The team is locked into this core, with little room to maneuver. The new CBA makes it even worse. This year, the Sixers are already over the $154.6 million cap, sitting about $195.9 million in salary, $10 million below the first apron, and $21.9 million under the dreaded second apron. Crossing that line triggers brutal restrictions. No mid-level exception, no salary aggregation in trades, no sending cash, and draft picks can get frozen or devalued. In short, the Sixers are handcuffed. Unless Embiid and George stay healthy, which history suggests won't happen, Philly is stuck paying superstar money for fragile stars, with almost no way out. The really scary part of Philadelphia's situation is just how much of their future cap space is swallowed by the Big Three. As the years go on, Embiid, George, and Maxey climb toward consuming nearly 90% of the entire salary cap. That leaves maybe 10 to 12% of the budget to fill out the other 12 roster spots. In today's NBA, where depth and role players are critical, that's basically impossible to build a contender with. But here's where it gets truly hopeless. Trade value, or the complete lack of it. Multiple reports suggest that Joel Embiid is essentially untradable right now. Brian Windhorst even said outright that he isn't tradable, despite winning MVP just 2 seasons ago in 2022-23. That's a massive fall from grace. The issue isn't his talent, it's the contract and his health. He's due $55.2 million next season before his 3-year, $193 million extension even begins, with a $69.1 million player option for 2028-29, when he'll be 34 and still battling chronic knee issues. Paul George is in a similar spot. He's locked into a 4-year, $212 million deal, with $162 million owed across 3 more seasons when he'll be 35. Last year was one of the worst of his career. And while he played 74 games, his highest since 2019, it's still hard to justify that kind of financial commitment for an aging, injury-prone player. Teams around the league simply don't want to touch those contracts. In fact, one analysis even noted that the Sixers would have to attach valuable draft picks just to offload them. That means Philadelphia is boxed in. They can't trade these stars, and they can't compete if those same stars keep breaking down. It's basketball purgatory, and history shows how devastating this can be. Think back to the Brooklyn Nets from 2013-2017. They went all in on aging Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett, gave up all their draft picks, and ended up trapped in years of irrelevance. Or the Lakers after the Dwight Howard failure. Stuck with Kobe's massive contract in his decline, no cap space, and 4 straight years of missing the playoffs. The Sixers are staring down the same road, locked into fading stars, no flexibility, and no easy way out. The only reason the Lakers managed to climb out of their dark years was because LeBron James chose Los Angeles. Not for basketball reasons, but for lifestyle and business opportunities. The Sixers don't have that kind of safety net. Nobody is choosing Philadelphia for the lifestyle, and right now, it feels like the franchise is running out of options. Just look at the Phoenix Suns. They went all in for Bradley Beal, mortgaged their draft future, and now they're paying the price. They had no choice but to waive and stretch Beal. They traded Kevin Durant to Houston, and what's left is one of the strangest rosters in recent memory. Jalen Green, Dylan Brooks, and Devin Booker trying to hold it together. That's the same path the Sixers are on. They sold their flexibility for the Embiid George core, and if this fails, and it's failing, they could face half a decade of irrelevance. The Nets eventually rebuilt. The Lakers eventually landed LeBron. What's Philly's escape hatch? There isn't one. Unless Embiid or George break down badly enough to trigger an injury exception, they're stuck in financial quicksand. The NBA has seen this movie before, and it never ends with a happy ending. Teams that get locked into aging, injury-prone max players don't suddenly bounce back. They wait, they suffer, and they pray the contracts expire before the franchise becomes irrelevant. The new CBA makes this cycle even harsher, with second apron restrictions suffocating teams already trapped. To be fair, there is one small glimmer of hope: the young core. Jared McCain looked like the runaway rookie of the year before his meniscus tear, averaging 15.3 points on efficient shooting. The team also drafted VJ Edgecombe, an explosive freshman from Baylor who has already shown promise. Both are talented, both are hungry, and the Sixers believe they can be the future. But the problem is timing. Embiid and George are eating up the cap through 2028, while McCain and Edgecombe will only be hitting their stride 3 or 4 years from now. By then, Embiid will be in his mid-30s, and George pushing 40. The timelines simply don't match. Even the optimism around the rookies is clouded by injuries. McCain already tore his UCL during a preseason workout and is expected to miss the start of the season. Meanwhile, Vegas sportsbooks project the Sixers to win just 42 games at best, barely fighting for a play-in spot. Odds to win the title? A brutal 40-1, worse than the Orlando Magic and Cavaliers. Nick Nurse and Daryl Morey know what's at stake. Nurse came in as a championship coach, but now feels like a glorified babysitter for 2 stars who can't stay on the court. Morey gambled everything on this core, from the Harden trade to the George signing to Embiid's extension. If this collapses, and all signs point to it collapsing, it's on him. The Sixers are now a cautionary tale in the NBA. A franchise that went all in, sacrificed all flexibility, and ended up trapped. They bet on the wrong window, and time is running out.